forward to this.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Geeknd Live. Where am I? There I am. Hello, I'm me. You're you. Great to see you, whoever you are, on this football we call Planet Earth. We're going to talk Obi-Wan Kenobi, Episode 5. We're going to do it with spoilers and all. And part of the point of waiting till Monday is it's kind of a bit more of a chill discussion, and also it gives more people a chance to have seen it. So hopefully there's no need to really scare you with threats of spoilers, because there ain't nothing left to be spoiled. But in the next couple of minutes, spoilers will start. I'm going to bring my guests in a few moments, but we're all part of the discussion. So let's just pop over to the chat to do some hello there's, of course. Hello there to Gaz Nottingham, OHMS, OMS, General Kenobi. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And what's his name this week? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Same as last week. Hippie Pun Lord is telling you to do the right thing. And basically, in a lot of words there, but basically what he's saying is hit that like button. And he says it well. Thank you, whatever your name is this week. And yeah, I think we'll come back to what Gaz is saying here. The key to enjoying Star Wars is patience. We'll come back to that a bit later. Jones Capone, hope you're doing well, my friend. And thank you for the logo. Obi Chat Kenobi. Jones Capone designed that, which was very, very kind of him. Glenn named it as well. Jane Flake says, greetings, my fellow Sith friends and Jedi Zealots. Hope you're good, Jane. Who else? Chris is here from Explaining Computers. Hope you're doing well, dude. You've definitely got enough stamps on a loyalty card now, haven't you? And I feel like the fact that you did an in-person turn-up or virtual in-person turn-up, that's probably like a double stamp. So you've got your free coffee or whatever it is. I don't know what we agreed on. Anders is here. Hope you're well, Anders. Jorge's here as well. That's 3 weeks on the trot. Jorge, you've joined us live, I think, at least 2. So you're filling up those loyalty card stamps as well. Brian the Geek is also here. Hello there to you. Loving all the hello there's. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 hello there's, as it should be. All right, then. Let's do some hello there's to our guests. First of all, thumbs up to you, North Dwarf. Hope you're doing well, mate. We've got 2 guests to discuss Chapter 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. The spoilers are about to begin. Keep the discussion going in the chat. I will come back and forth from talking to our guests and also the chat. So let's bring in Liam Robertson, first of all. Liam, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all good, man. I mean, nothing's changed since we spoke off air 3 or 4 minutes ago. I'm still good, but we have to do the kind of that was the dress rehearsal of the pleasantries. Now that was just the full performance that the world just experienced of us saying, hi, how are you? For not the first time in the last 5 minutes. But great to have you back on. Liam is a regular on the channel, also supports the channel on the Geeknd, but also does a lot of his own stuff all around the internet as well, contributing to Did You Know Gaming, also your own YouTube channel, a game history guy as well, and also podcasts. There's all sorts. What have I missed out?
That's pretty much it, yeah. And I'm on Twitter as well, I guess. But yeah, I think you covered everything.
I think you are on Twitter. I can confirm you're on Twitter. And I have put links to at least your YouTube channel and I think either your playlist or at least the channel, Did You Know Gaming as well. So there are some links to Liam, but also what's your Twitter handle, Liam, in case I didn't add the Twitter to the video description?
Well, that's okay if you didn't add it, but it's at Dr_Cupcakes.
Cool. So if you like your video games and you like your video games history as well, and you don't know Liam already, then do some investigating. He's your man. And we have another man here. It's Chad, the stopwatch, Campbell. Hi, Chad. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Still the same. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, if you're new to Chad, which we're a tight knit bunch on the Geeknd Lives. I think everybody knows Chad, regular in the chat. Also, he regularly fails at keeping us to time. We aim for 30 minutes. We more or less always fail, and it's all Chad's fault. Let's see, with Chad actually being here in person, whether we can keep to time. It won't happen. But Chad, you're also you're busy in your own life as well. You're not all about the timekeeping of this live stream. So you've got your YouTube channel, the Alamo Studio, and also you've brought back your Star Wars lunch special podcast, haven't you, for Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yes, yeah. Every episode, I kind of give my thoughts on it. Go on tangents and rants. I try to keep them all under 30 minutes every time, just because it's designed to be listened to during a lunch break. And
do you achieve it?
Yeah. I think like one special episode I've gone over, but when I'm in control, fully in control, I always stick to time.
So that was the extra special episode. All right, well, go and check that out as well. I haven't listened to this week's podcast, but I have listened to the others, and also during the Book of Boba as well. It's a good listen, and yeah, it's not too long either. I think it's the perfect duration, in fact, something this stream will never achieve. But we're going to focus on episode 5, part 5, chapter 5. I don't know what we're supposed to call it these days in a moment, but I want to take, I want Liam and Chad really to take me back. I want to know what your guys' feelings were towards the Obi-Wan Kenobi series pre-chapter 5. How was it for you? Liam, first of all.
I've been enjoying it for the most part. I've been trying to enjoy it just for what it is. I think I said to you before, I would have preferred something a bit more understated, and you said as well, like the first episode provided a bit of that. And I kind of wanted more of that, more of him on his own, a character study of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I like what they've done for the most part. It's just kind of not what I would have done, it's not kind of what I pictured this being. A part of me does question how necessary this is as well, because the original trilogy is something that's very sacred to me. But I am trying to withhold judgment until it's all said and done. And to be fair, it has been very fun to watch. Like, at the very least, that is something I will say about it. I've watched each episode at least once or twice, and I have been enjoying it. I do question how necessary it is, and I kind of wish there was more meat on the bone, like character study wise. But I am finding fun in it, I'd say.
Okay, so it's maybe not what you expected, not what you wanted, but at least what you're being given, you're having some fun with. We'll get into that a bit more in a moment. But Chad, take us up to, well, just cover the first 4 episodes yourself as well.
Yeah, so I'm always people on here know that I'm hard to please sometimes. It takes a lot. I thought the first episode, maybe first 2 episodes, were pretty decent. I did not like how 3 ended at all. I didn't like the Vader fight. I just a part of me, as a purist and a guy who grew up with the original trilogy, before the prequels came out and stuff, that's how I got introduced. A part of me doesn't like changing canon, and they'll make it work out so that they didn't change canon. But a part of me gets very cynical around that stuff, and I don't think it's necessary. That said, it's not like it's a terrible show or anything. It's decent. It's fun. I'm having a good time. Episode 4 was probably the weakest for me. That was probably the most like unnecessary. It was mostly like banter between Leia and the third sister or whatever, and I just didn't see what I was getting out of it. But that said, at that point in the show, after the Vader thing, I was all cynical anyway. So I was like, yeah, it was a fine episode. Who cares? But then this episode, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, I think it's fine. I think it's a fine show. Is it the best Star Wars show? No. Is it the best show on TV? Not even close. But is it still a good time that I look forward to watching? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so far this just about makes the top 5 TV shows I've seen this year. It's certainly behind Better Call Saul, Stranger Things so far for both of those, and Ozark, I would say, as well. But then again, it's Star Wars, so that automatically puts it in its own league anyway for me, because I'm more invested in the franchise, in the universe, if you like. So I kind of look at Star Wars differently, and that's a blessing and a curse for it. Because, and I think, for all of us, we care about it, which is why we can be maybe overly critical and nitpicky sometimes. But yeah, I hear what you're both saying. I too expected and wanted that more kind of quieter character study, if you like, which I think we did get some of in the first episode. I didn't want that for the whole series, you know. I don't think that would have worked for the whole series. At some point, we knew he had to get off planet and go on some sort of mission that would have brought him in the presence of Vader again, and the rematch of the century, which I hope we haven't had yet, even though I wasn't completely sold on them meeting again. And, well, it turns out meeting twice potentially. I hope that wasn't the so-called rematch of the century, because, yeah, it wasn't a great duel, but I feel like it was purposely not a great duel, you know, and there is a theory that Vader let Kenobi escape because it wasn't a fair fight. He was disgusted almost, you know, and he wants to do this. He wants to do this properly. He wants to win properly. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get some sort of duel in the next episode. But, yeah, it does seem that for some that were feeling, you know, generally I've been very satisfied by this series. I've just accepted it for what it is, and I'm having a really good time with it. And, yeah, this episode, it seems, I mean, it was the best yet for me. It was the best yet, with episode 1 being a close second. And it seems to have turned a few people towards, I don't know, it seems to have warmed people up towards the series a bit more that were maybe on the fence. And I think, as Gaz said earlier, you know, it is important to reserve judgment on these things. But with the weekly releases, and I think they should do that, I don't think it should just be dropped in one for binging. Obviously, it opens Star Wars up for interrogation, nitpicking, and it turns out fighting as well within the fandom. But this was the best episode yet. I'm just rambling now. One of you join in. Did you enjoy this episode? Episode 5? Liam, Chad.
Oh, okay. I'll give my 2 cents if you want. No, I
Yeah.
thought it was probably one of the strongest episodes. I agree with you. I'm not sure which my favorite was. I think a lot of the big emotional beats worked really well for me, and the flashbacks, I'm sure we're going to talk about that. That was great. I liked how all that was handled, and, you know, showing how Anakin's behavior kind of informs how Vader acts and how impulsive he is. That's all great. I really like that stuff, and getting to see more of Vader go to town and grabbing that ship. I'm sure again we'll come to it, but yeah, it was it's kind of a roller coaster ride, this show, at the very least. It's fun, it keeps you engaged, there's lots of cool action beats, so it kept me entertained. I did like it, and some of the revelations about the characters, I think probably on a character level, in terms of like the ensemble cast, this was the episode that worked the best for me.
What about you, Chad?
Yeah, for me, this was the best. Definitely not really a question. I felt that Leia finally had something like to do. Her character actually helped move the story along by being small and getting in there and deactivating things. But she was risking becoming like just that cute little, you know, thing that gets kidnapped and then we have to rescue her because she has gotten kidnapped like twice now in one between 4 episodes. So I was happy with that. I thought bringing back different characters, the Kenobi Vader thing, this is what bugged me in episode 3, is I didn't like the Vader Kenobi thing. I didn't think they ever needed to actually see each other. I think they could have even felt each other's presence. I really would have loved it if they had done like in episode 9, episode 8 with Kylo and Rey, where they are like in the same place but not in the same place, because that would have been sweet.
The Force time, the Force FaceTime.
Yes, I would have loved to have an Darth Vader fight that takes place like that. That would have been awesome. That would have been so cool. Whatever, it didn't happen. I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm still mad. But we're gonna move on. I think everything felt like the story was moving forward in this, and I hadn't felt that in a couple episodes, that things were moving forward. It was just like things kept, happening that distracted from the whole mission. But this one actually felt like everything was culminating. So I really dug it. I'm gonna reference to Gaz.
Mm-hmm.
Gaz, yes. So nothing has been changed in canon necessarily, unless like it's cheap. Some of the stuff, like the Leia thing, and the Leia saying, you know, you served my father in the Clone Wars. That's how she calls Obi-Wan later when she needs his help. If she's known him and traveled across the universe and been in, you know, fights with him and saved his life and he saved hers, I don't think that it would be that impersonal of a message. That seems like a message that I would send to someone that I don't know, but I need their help, and my father knows them. I wouldn't send that myself if I had gone across the universe with them. And we could say, well, maybe she was trying to hide it, so she's just going to sacrifice her father then? Because either way, if that message gets discovered, whoever wrote it is dying, right? Because it's R2 has to keep it safe. So that bugs me. So I'm still holding out hope that Leia loses her memory, because otherwise it's just poor writing, I guess. Like, why would Leia say that? And then the whole presence I haven't felt since, that irked me, when it's just going to become a presence I haven't felt in, 5 to 10 years. But I think that what they're going to do, we'll get to this later, but my theory on the ending is that they're going to have Vader think, just like kind of happened in Ahsoka with Rebels and Vader, where they think that he's dead.
Yeah, so first of all, with Vader, I think the focus is more actually on that line in Return of the Jedi to Luke. Obi-Wan once fought as you do. You don't know the power of the dark side. I feel like that's going to be explained. That's given them something to play with. I'm not worried about it I'm not worried about it affecting the line in A New Hope, a presence I've not felt since, it's only 10 years ago. That's still quite a long time. A decade is a long time. Okay, it's half the time that it was originally, I suppose. Or more, but yeah, I'm not so worried about the Vader thing now, and I agree that it will end with him thinking Kenobi's dead, because Tarkin in A New Hope thinks Vader's like lost it when he says, Kenobi's here. I've not felt this presence. He's the way Tarkin looks at him. And he says something like, you're the last of your kind, your breed, your ancient religion, or to paraphrase. So, yeah, I agree with that. In terms of Leia, I don't know. I don't think the memory wipe thing can work, can it? Surely. But it is a diplomatic message. I don't know. I think there's arguments on both sides for it. But when Luke breaks into the cell and says, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you, I'm here with Ben Kenobi, etc. Then she's really personal. She's like, Ben Kenobi? I haven't seen him since I hid under his trench coat, that kind of thing. So I don't know. It can work. It can still work. I think.
I still feel
I'm
like
not sure.
It's a weird way to send a message. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's like,
I hear what you're saying. I think this is probably going to be one of those things where you just have to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to reconcile this. I think it's just going to be, she knew him, and the most you'll get as a kind of as an explanation is she was little and she just doesn't really remember that well. She was just a young kid and she doesn't really remember it. Like, do you remember all the adults that you hung around with when you were like 5-6 years old? I don't. I mean,
but if I traveled across the galaxy and they saved me from kidnapping twice, I would remember them.
I guess so. I'm not saying she would totally forget him, but maybe you could make the argument. Why am I rationalizing this? I don't care to rationalize this. It is stupid. I do agree with you that it is stupid. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But I think at the end of the day, yes, it'll just be one of those things where you just got to accept it, right?
Yeah, don't let it bug you guys. Move on. We've all got lives to live. Andor's coming out soon. Few points on that, though. Padroy Girl says Leia was also a bit pushed for time when she sent that message. Obi-Wan Glenobi says, I don't see that you served my father as any sort of introduction to Obi-Wan as to who she was, but as simply a reminder of his service. And then Glenn also adds, of course, that line of Leia's was already messed up by Lucas with how the Clone Wars played out. Obi-Wan wasn't so much serving Bail Organa, but the Senate as a whole. Jane Flake says, I'm not that fussed by the message, but given that she is a senator, maybe she was just using that kind of political speech. Yeah, she was on a diplomatic mission, apparently, etc. And also, hey, and Tilly, hope you're doing well, my friend. Agrees with Glenn. She is just reminding him of that service, and she does recognize him as Ben. And how would she know he is known as Ben? Yeah, exactly. She responds as Ben Kenobi. It wasn't like Ben. Do you mean Obi-Wan, right? You know, it's like Ben, like my old pal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. This is small fry to me. There are bigger continuity. There are bigger continuity errors in Star Wars than this. Like
definitely
thing.
Definitely. It's just I get more cynical when it's something that they're adding to something that already exists. I'm a big world building guy, and like you need to be building your world so that it all can flow pretty smooth. If I think about it and it doesn't make any sense, I can't love it. It's like the movie what was the last Jordan Peele movie? Us. That movie makes zero sense if you give it any thought as to how those people are alive down there, how they're doing anything. It's a movie you're not supposed to think about. Star Wars has always been okay to think about. But yeah.
Yeah, and again, the weak gaps between episodes do give that space for thinking and dissecting and arguing and what have you. And again, I personally wouldn't want this to be a binging thing. I like the weak gaps, but a lot of people, including Chad. In fact, no, I'm going to come on to that in a moment. Just one more message here in regards to Leia. There is a response from Gaz to you, Chad. Chad, good point with the Leia thing. I think Rogue One helps frame it that the message is on behalf of Bail Organa and an official appeal.
Yes. Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi just brought up the point. All right. I give up on this. Canon and continuity does not matter in Star Wars. It never has, but it's just one of those things. If they don't have to dig the hole any further, then let's not. Yeah. All right. You're right.
So, Chad, I know you definitely are on this train of thought, but there are a lot of people I've seen online who, after that episode, particularly that we've just had, which was fantastic, kind of feel like it, and a lot of positive Star Wars fans are saying this is a positive thing. It's not necessarily criticism. Alex Damon, Star Wars Explained, I think, said this as well. This should have been a movie, perhaps. How do you guys feel about that?
I actually disagree, because I think if Disney had done it as a movie, they would have milked it and they would have gone for like a trilogy or something, because this is quite a lot of material. And I like that it's been able to take its time. And I think, doing 6 episodes, I mean, even that is quite short for a series. So I think this format works for what they're trying to do. And I don't know if maybe you could have done a good film out of it if you'd done something pretty different. But I like it. I wouldn't change it.
I wish it had the movie budget, at least. I'm enjoying it as a TV show. And even though it feels wrong to want this in a way, because I can't necessarily find sensible justification at the moment, but I want a second season. I feel it had a movie, but I wish it had a movie budget at least, because sometimes this feels like a movie, a Star Wars movie, and sometimes it feels, I don't want to use the word that begins with C and ends with P, but it does sometimes feel like a TV show that hasn't had as much money put into it as other TV shows. Even The Mandalorian still feels at the moment like the gold standard of Star Wars television for me at the moment, in the way it looks and the story it's telling at the moment. But there is still one big episode to go of Kenobi. But Chad, anyway, I know that you're very much in the school of thought that this should have been a movie.
I think this would have been a great movie. If you take out, even in this episode, Obi-Wan and Vader never see each other, right? But there is still the tension there. You still know that they know what the other's thinking. I think you could have done all of that effectively without having that fight in episode 3. You could take out all of episode 4. You could condense this. This is one of those things that someone will do in a fan film style, right? They're going to do that eventually. Mm-hmm. They're going to make it into a 2.5-hour movie. And I think in some ways that could improve it, keeping the focus more right on Kenobi. And not on, all the side characters. And I would have really loved that. Jane, you're right. Solo kind of killed any Star Wars movies. That's what made them actually transition this to a a TV show because it was originally supposed to be a movie. And then they rewrote the script and everything. And it seems to me, it feels like they rewrote the script. I think Rogue One is a great example of rewriting and you don't know. But I don't think this has been as smooth to me. It still feels like there's key pieces here that I could keep and pieces that I could throw away.
Yeah. I mean, it can still work. It is working as a series overall for me, and it can end with an absolute bang. And I hope we've got a long finale to come. This one was more 40 minutes, I think, which we're getting there. But I feel like there's a lot to do in this final episode. That's where
the second season kind of makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends where I would love it to just be a limited series. For once in their lives, I would love money to not decide if there needs to be more of something. But I think there will be a second.
Yeah, I feel like there will as well. But this was supposed to be genuinely a limited season, so therefore it should be a complete narrative. And again, I've avoided leaks, but I did see something that I didn't actually click on to find out more about because I am really trying to avoid leaks, and I know there's been a lot for this series out there and continues to be from what I'm seeing, unless they're just really clickbaity YouTube thumbnail titles. But I saw something about that they've actually changed, potentially rumored to have changed the ending to accommodate a second season, because I don't know, it almost feels like if there was this rematch of the century, now if there was to be a second season, you've got to copy and paste that into the second season. You've got to cut that and copy and paste it into the second season, because that's surely how this thing ends. That has to be how this thing ends, and that's got to be. I know Obi-Wan could have more adventures, but I feel like you're really shoehorning it in then and just finding stories for the sake of commissioning a second season and making lots more money. Because I think Deborah Chow said, actually we could do a second season, but the story's got to be right, which suggests they haven't got that story.
Yeah, I can see that. Sorry, I'm looking at some of these comments.
Liam, do you think it seems like inevitable that there will be a second season now, because it overall has been well received. It's doing, doing great numbers for Disney Plus, apparently. Do you think there should be? How do you think it would work? Or could it work?
If I was in charge of this, I wouldn't have done any of this to begin with. So there's that. But I wouldn't have done a second season either. I think they should have just left it as what it is, just tell the story and leave it, and then just to leave, at least there's still some of this original story with Obi-Wan being on Tatooine intact. I kind of feel like what we're going to get is they're going to wrap up this story with Reva and a bit of the Darth Vader stuff maybe, and then they'll do a second season, and it's going to be about something else. Obi-Wan's going to go off on another mission. Maybe he's going to go and meet some of the other Jedi that are out there, like Carl or some, I don't know, but there's lots of possibilities that they could do there with other surviving Jedis and other rebel factions. Maybe he is involved in those things on some level. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're gonna wrap up this, like a lot of the subplots here, and then they are going to do a season 2. I kind of hope that it keeps some class and they wrap up what they've set up here, and it doesn't end with like a cliffhanger, or they don't, bait us along with, oh, you'll get the rematch of a century next season. I don't want that. I want it to end. I want them to have some, have some class about it and stick to what you said you were going to do. And then maybe if you pull it off, we'll see if we want to watch a second season.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You mentioned Reva. How did the Reva reveal land with you both? Chad, you go first.
I saw that coming like a mile away. So, I said since the first episode, I was like, oh, she was probably one of those kids running away at the beginning of this episode, because there was no reason to start with that otherwise. So I saw it coming, made sense. I appreciated it. I wish, and let me be fair, because people are really mean online to her for no valid reason. I thought she's been great. She's a great character. She's a great actress. Same with young Leia. I don't get the hate here. And I mean, other than like, you know, sexism and racism. But I wish, so I wanted to clarify that first before I say I wish they had let her die, because that could have been really bad if you thought I wanted to let her die because I just didn't like her. She was an awesome character. I just felt like Darth Vader is like, yeah, you think I knew who you were this whole time, and then he doesn't kill her.
I agree. I've never had a problem with the character, and certainly not with the actor. But she should be dead. Let's be honest. She should be dead, and clearly she's not. And clearly all roads lead to Tatooine now, which kind of makes me wonder, how does the rematch of the century fall into that? Because surely Vader will not end up on Tatooine. But Liam, how did the reveal land with you?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much expected it, you know, like he was just saying, like from the first episode. I think I turned to my partner and that's what I said. I said, like, she's going to be one of those younglings from the start, and she's trying to like get Obi-Wan to fight Darth Vader or something like that. I kind of wish there was more kind of machinations there, you know, like it was just kind of like Obi-Wan kind of just asked her what her plan was and she just admitted it. I kind of wish there was more of a dramatic reveal where she, you know, is pulling the strings of the two of them and pits them against each other or something like that, because she would have valid reason to do that. But still, it was what I expected, but it was still good. I liked seeing her fight him and him effortlessly dodging her like something out of Dragon Ball Z, and then you know, just not even. I love how he doesn't even draw his lightsaber.
No,
he's just sort of like whoop whoop, dodging out of the way, and then he uses hers, and he even tosses her one. Just go on, I'll give you a shot. Go on, pick it up, like he's trying to humor a child or something. I love that. It's great.
Yeah, no, complete disregard for it. I thought that was fantastic. Vader has been generally fantastic in this season. He really has. And the team that have, we talked about this last week, the team that have brought him to life, you know, because it's not just Hayden Christensen. In fact, in the suit, I think he's in it the least. Actually, there's three guys there, including Hayden, and there's even a Vader movement coach, a lady with a Russian-sounding name that I can't remember now. She's on Instagram, and yeah, she started post. They're all allowed now to start posting their behind-the-scenes pictures and videos.
I've seen a few of them.
Yeah. You know, there's a real team behind Vader, as is the case, you know, with many characters and obviously productions in general. There's so much more going on behind the scenes, of course. But yeah, Vader's been brilliant in this season. But I have to say, my silly highlight of the episode was the Grand Inquisitor, his little hello. I love that. I can't reproduce the hilarity, of course, but it was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, people had said they had two hearts or something, so that obviously came into play here.
Two stomachs, I think. That was mentioned on the stream a few weeks ago. The species has two stomachs. I think, again, that's one of the, you know, let's reserve judgment, you know, let's not go crazy about this so-called canon breaking just yet. I think someone pointed out, maybe Glenn actually, someone pointed out on the stream a few weeks ago that he is listed on IMDb, Rupert Friend, as being in something like 4 out of the 6 episodes or something. So yeah, it always seems quite likely, but what a way. Just a simple hello. Yeah. Loved it. All right, so we've already gone over 30 minutes, quite a lot. Let's see a few comments in the chat.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, we got something that the chat was talking about that I want to kind of hear everyone's opinion on.
Is this the 19-year-old middle-aged Hayden Christensen?
Yeah. How do you think Hayden Christensen looked? Do you wish they had done a better job? Do you wish they had? I mean, what I kind of thought was that they didn't do a job at all. And maybe they did, and it was just terrible, but I thought they didn't do it at all. I was okay with that because for me, I would rather have it like I just have to, you know, think that they're younger than have it look really poor. Like if they couldn't get the face on the CG right in time, I'd rather them not even try it at all. And I can just, you know, pretend he's younger. But I do want to hear what in the comments, we kind of said it, but what did people think of the Hayden Christensen face?
Yeah, let us know. If you commented earlier on it, put it back in again if you don't mind, please. Save my finger. I'm still all that, you know, all that scrolling. It's hard work. Pull a muscle. Yes. So I I don't notice I'm not great with details, and I don't notice these things straight away. Like when we saw Tarkin in Rogue One, I thought, wow, Peter Cushing's looking great. And my dad, like I saw Rogue One with my dad, and afterwards I said, because I knew about it in advance, and I said to my dad, "Oh, what did you think to Peter Cushing being in it? That was a surprise, wasn't it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I thought he was dead, but he looked great. It was really good." I was like, "Yeah, he's dead." But and then the more I see it, and you start to notice the cracks. And the same with Luke in Mando, season 2 finale. It was second viewing where I've started to think, yeah, it's a bit wonky. So I'm not great with details anyway, but this did stand out straight away, and it doesn't really bother me. But my theory is that they didn't fail at it; they just didn't really do it. They've made a decision there for whatever reason. I don't think they've done it and just done a bad job. I think they've just done something very subtle. It's really subtle. And I feel like that was the decision because they can do it. And Ewan doesn't look bad at all. Ewan looks close to.
I feel like Ewan's hardly aged since episode 3, though. Like maybe a bit, but if
just
you put the right
mullet back on him and he's there attacking the clones,
he looks
baby.
so good. Hayden looks the same too. Honestly, if you look at Hayden in real life, he looks pretty much the same. It's just that like when you get older and you smile. And like, whatever they call them, crow's feet or whatever, like the wrinkles are there. And that's the one I saw it in Hayden. It's just the wrinkles.
It's odd. Yeah. I feel we'll probably find out more when they do a gallery, whatever it's called, making of. It's odd, but I feel like it was a decision that they made rather than did a bad job. Liam, what do you think? And I'm going to check the chat in the meantime.
Yeah, before we came on, we were talking about Better Call Saul very briefly. And this kind of strikes me as a decision the creators of that show would take, where they use just kind of minimal hair and makeup to make characters look younger as opposed to resorting to CGI. And I respect it. I'd rather, as Chad was saying, I'd rather just sort of think that they're younger, kind of use my imagination a little bit. And just, I don't care. Like, I'd rather it look natural and have the actors just doing their best, rather than going into uncanny valley and messing with it. And that risks ruining the moment because I think why this works is you're just seeing the actors doing classic Obi-Wan and Anakin, and that's why it works. And so I wouldn't want to compromise that with uncanny valley CGI. And yeah, I like what they went with there. I think it was the right decision. It might have had something to do with budgetary restrictions because they've not shown a lot of restraint when it comes to CGI and de-aging when it comes to Star Wars. I kind of think like maybe because they had these big actors there that it wasn't in the budget to do it, and so they did what they could. But I like what they did.
Yeah, let's get a few comments. Chris from Explaining Computers says, I was okay with Hayden not looking older until I saw the video on YouTube where somebody de-aged him very well indeed. And yeah, Chris sent me that link. And yeah, they did do a good job. And they'll probably get a job like the dude that did the Luke video on the next season.
I gotta say, Jamie, you just ruined David Milano's good joke in the comments.
Sorry, David Milano. Sorry, we'll still read it and it'll be better, I'm sure. James Blakes, I thought that the shot of Hayden in the flashback was gorgeous. He certainly gave my heart a little flutter. It was gorgeous, and Liam said earlier, the way they played out those flashbacks, with real time worked so well for me. Do you know what kind of bugged me, if you like, more than the lack of de-aging on Hayden was the lack of traffic on Coruscant.
Yeah,
there was not a ship in the sky.
I didn't even think about that at all, but now that you've said it, like in all the prequels, it was constant traffic.
Mental. It was mental.
Yeah. So maybe they were under construction, though, the roads, you think?
Maybe it was like a national holiday, everyone's thinking. Or maybe it was a pandemic lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lockdown.
There's a football match on. Everyone's inside watching it.
It takes a long time for things to travel through space. So if COVID started there and then, now we get it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Long time ago.
We've solved it. Gaz Nottingham says, I think they just used makeup and didn't want to de-age the stars. Glenn says, I'm upset at how old Anakin looked in that flashback. I'm 8 years older than Hayden, and he looked older than me in that scene with age reduction done, I believe. I don't know if he did have it done, but I think, like Gaz said, there was obviously definitely some makeup there, maybe some very subtle de-aging. But okay, here it is. Dave Milano. Within a few hours of the episode drop, there was already better de-aging videos on YouTube. I kind of wish they'd put in the effort. That said, it was great to see them together again. That wasn't a joke, right? The joke's still to come. Have I missed a joke?
No, the joke's still to come.
But, you know, yeah, they're obviously, even if they did do de-aging, a lot of de-aging and a good job at the de-aging, there'd still be a load of YouTube videos doing a better job of the de-aging. You know, there'd still be that anyway. Brian says, sorry, Chad.
No, I think sometimes when we saw Luke, like in Book of Boba, we thought it was great. He was relatively emotionless. And I feel it might still be a thing where, like, when they're using emotion, they haven't perfected that yet, so they chose to withhold it entirely.
That's true. Yeah, I think there is a reason for this, and we'll find out more about it in the Gallery documentary, which I assume will follow at some point. Brian the Geek says, it took me a sec to get used to Hayden's face, but overall I was unbothered, and going forward it wouldn't bother me at all. No, now they've established it. Now, if they did do it, it'd be like, oh, why didn't you do it before? I feel like now they've got to stick to it if they are doing more Hayden flashbacks in Ahsoka, say, for example. Peter Cushing in Rogue One looked pretty rough to me. As I told you, not to my dad. Jones Capone, they almost never let meaningful characters die, and in so doing, they don't make use of what could be an extremely impactful storytelling device. Brian as well, it definitely was a creative decision. I think maybe they wanted to let the emotional detail in his performance exist versus a more plastic fake look. That's my theory, yeah, in line with what Chad was saying there. Dave Milano, is this the joke? I think it's probably a TV budget reason. Maybe they're waiting to see who does the best fan edit de-aging and then hire that person who doesn't have to be a man. Yeah, I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry. But I will play your clip very soon. Okay, I think we're good on all of the aging comments now. And yeah, okay.
Oh man,
poor Hayden. He can't win, can he? DJ Mitz here. Hayden still appeared winning despite the flashback. I think actually, I don't know. I mean, the flashback. Forget the aging; it doesn't bother me. The flashback really worked for me. The performances were good, in my opinion, from both of them. I mean, Ewan's been great all through this season, actually. For me,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I
was waiting. No, I was waiting for him to go.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say. I felt honestly that was like some of Hayden's like best performance as Anakin, honestly, because I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the superior direction. Like I think George Lucas sometimes struggled to direct dialogue in the prequels. There's a lot of like shot reverse shot. It's kind of shot in a quite stilted way. I know that's probably blasphemous to say, but whereas here I think they play off each other well, and you do get a sense that while there's obviously something boiling under the surface there with Anakin, there's a little bit of darkness to him. You do get a sense that Obi-Wan and him are ultimately friends at the end of that clip, where you see them sort of smile at each other, and I felt like we never saw enough of that in the prequels.
Do you think, I mean, now there's one episode left, maybe we'll get more flashbacks, but do you think this is something that they should have gone heavier? I know after the Book of Boba Fett, maybe they sort of scaled it back a bit if they did have plans to do more flashbacks, but now we've had this taste of it. What do you guys think? Do you think this is something they should have done earlier and more of?
It reminded me a bit of, there was a show that came out on Netflix last year, Cowboy Bebop. It was a remake of an anime show that I absolutely love. And I didn't like it until the 9th episode, which was the flashback episode, and it came way too late, but it was fantastic. It's finally the thing that made it unique and different from the cartoon. I didn't want them to just do the cartoon. That could be the case here, but again, only 5 episodes in, and in a year, no one will know that it's, binged, or, they'll be binging it. So that length of time won't feel the same. It felt it on like Cowboy Bebop, because that was, even when you binged it, that's still a long ways into a show. That'd be like waiting until the 7th episode of Stranger Things to start to like it. It's too late at that point. But Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this would be a great show to binge.
What? Oh, this one. Yeah,
Kenobi,
this one.
yeah.
I think it will too. I think a lot of my issues with it, like I wouldn't even notice or have time to think about it when I binged it.
All right, so we've had Brian the Geek has rightly reminded us that Chad has failed us, all of us. We are definitely well above 30 minutes, so we're going to start to wrap up, guys, because I've got to put my mom to bed. I'm still here in the Midlands of England looking after the old dear post-operation. So start to get your scores out of 10 into the chat, please. Liam and Chad, I'll be coming for your scores out of 10 in a moment as well. But final question to you both. What are your predictions for the finale?
I'll let you go first, Chad.
Oh, man. Okay. I predict that Leia will get back fine and safe, that Obi-Wan will have a real good moment with Vader, where it's the thinks he's dead type thing, and it'll end really powerful. I think... I don't know. I think it's going to end well. It's going to end safe. It's not going to be anything that we haven't seen before, but it's going to be very well done.
Liam.
Yeah, thinking about it, I kind of feel like they're going to wrap up the Vader thing and, as you say, end it in such a way where it will be ambiguous to Vader whether or not Obi-Wan lived. Because from what I remember in Rebels, when Vader and the Emperor talk about him, they don't seem to understand whether or not he's alive. There's a line where I think Vader says, "Can we go after Kenobi?" And the Emperor says, "Yes, if he's alive." So they don't seem to know. So if they're sticking with canon, as they say, yeah. So I kind of feel like the Reva thing might be for like season 2, because I don't know how she's going to get out of the dirt and go to Tatooine to do her business with Owen or something. Kind of feels like she could be a future threat. Yeah, I kind of hope that we get the duel that we've all wanted between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, sorry. And then it will end in some way that is ambiguous to Vader, and hopefully he'll get Leia back to Alderaan.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see the drop off in this episode, but I don't see how we can have this this issue on Tatooine with Reva and the Vader duel in the finale. I feel like it's one or the other. And we
and I lead towards the Vader
of
thing,
the century. Yeah. All right, I'm going to come to you guys for your scores out of 10 in a moment. Let's pop to the chat and get what people are saying here for the final scores. Where's the first one I can see? I think this is I'm starting with...
The first one I can see is low.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. So if it was anything before this, then post it back in. So a low 6 out of 10. A respectable...
Explain why 6 out of 10. I just want to see it in the comments. We don't have to talk about it. I just want to know their thoughts.
Yeah, give your thoughts in the comment for Chad to see. 8.7 out of 10 from Jones Capone. It's 10 out of 12 because Jane Flakes is always imperial. 10 out of 12 for Jane Flakes. 8.4 out of 10 from Glenn. 8 out of 10 from Chris of Explaining Computers. 8.8 out of 10 from Brian the Geek. Gaz Nottingham with an 8.75 out of 10. Loving the show. Excited for Wednesday. Yeah, it's almost all over. 9.5 out of 10. That's the highest so far from Power Droid Girl for the Rogue One moment alone. Dave Milano, 9 forced ripped spaceships out of 10. And this is the reasoning for the 6. Poor direction, poor dialogue, etc. All right, so generally high scores anyway. There, and also well, there is the highest from Elsa, 10 out of 10, the best episode of the series. I agree with that. Certainly the best episode of the series. Liam, what would you give it out of 10?
I'll give it like a 7.5. I enjoyed it a lot, and I don't really have many complaints. Solid episode.
Chad?
I'm gonna have to give it, like an 8.8, like Brian the Geek will tie on there. Really solid episode. When Star Wars does it right, like even if I saw all of that coming, if I'm still on board and feeling it, like you won me. So I thought it was just very well done. Things worked for me. Vader's also my favorite character in the entire series. So to see a lot of Darth being Darth like that. I'll take that any day. So yeah, easy 8.8 for me.
I think the highest score I've given so far was 8.5 for the first episode. I've got to give this a bit more because it is my favorite episode, but I'm not ready to give 9s yet. I'm really looking forward to binging this, having a second viewing of the whole thing at the end, and I'll probably reevaluate my scores and my feelings. So for now, I've just got to nudge it ahead. I'm giving it an 8.6 or 7, 8.7.
Okay,
which is very, very high for me, and that does mean I am going to play one of Dave Milano's clips, which is the best clip I could play.
Hello there.
Thank you once again, Dave Milano, and sorry for stealing your joke.
Those.
But yeah, no, I'm ready for more. I Obi want more of that. So thank you, Dave Milano, and I genuinely do. I'm ready for that finale. Bring on Wednesday, and we'll do this one more time next week. But thank you everybody for joining. Oh, looks like, okay, I'm going to have to sort out the admins at some point because looks like we've got a lot of spam in the chat right now. If that's your thing, guys, don't click on the link, actually. It looks pretty dodgy. So, anyway,
right.
we will wrap up here. So, Liam, thank you very much for joining. Not for the first time, not for the second time. I think the third, possibly fourth time as a guest to chat about something to do with Star Wars. I have added your Twitter now to the video description, so there are 3 links, 2 YouTube links and your Twitter in there. You're free to up over Chad, because Chad, I've got your podcast link and also the Alamo Studio YouTube link as well. So thank you both for joining. If you've just met Chad or Liam tonight, go and check out what they do in relation to video games and Star Wars and other movie stuff on their relevant links. And thank you to everybody for joining. And we'll be back this time next week. And there is now a pug barking at me outside the door, which means
Nice.
I'm going to click end broadcast, and we need to start waving, everybody. Start waving. Simon D's here, by the way. Just going to say hello to Simon D. Hope you're doing good, Simon D. We'll talk. I know Simon D's avoiding Kenobi at the moment, so we'll be back to normal soon, Simon. So we'll hear more from you then. I hope. All right, everybody. We are waving now because I'm clicking end broadcast. Goodbye.
Bye.